Globalization revision, chapter 2, economic impact and response. So, in order to understand economic impact, you have to understand what is growth. Growth of a country depends on the manufacturing, tourism, trade, and investments. If all these things can go up, then you will have growth. Okay? And the thing is that globalization, the growth of MNCs helps all these things to go up. Okay? Trading businesses to go up. Thus, you have increase in your tax. When you have more tax money, that is when more people can be employed. You can buy more things. You can improve the infrastructure. You can improve consumer goods and services. So, what does globalization do? Number one, globalization creates foreign direct investment. And this is crucial for Singapore because Singapore is a small market. Okay, we need this investment to remain competitive and to sustain our economy. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, so we started foreign direct investment in labor intensive industries first, and then we moved on to technology and information driven industries, which is what is happening now. Okay, why Singapore? Because we provide them with economic opportunities to expand to the rest of the world and the rest of Asia. Okay, so another way that we make use of globalization to improve our economy is through free trade agreements. This means that we can trade goods without tariffs. The keyword is tariffs. Without tariffs, so we can increase trading and we can earn more money. Okay, so a free trade agreement we have is with the US in these areas, electronics, information tech, chemicals, textile, of course airplanes as well. So to explain, you must say that all these things helps to improve your tax revenue, and if you have more money, you can help more people to find employment. You can have more money for consumer goods and services, and of course this leads to growth. Okay, higher standard of living and growth. But of course globalization has some negative impacts as well. More importantly, because of MNCs, you will have cheaper imports, and it will be harder for domestic businesses or domestic companies to survive. Okay, and with this, there's limited skills transfer, there's limited employment benefits, because MNCs will focus on foreigners to attract the highly skilled foreigners to come. Thus, the jobs for locals will decrease. Okay, and the more importantly is that a downturn, an economic crisis affects Singapore's economy. What happens in the world affects Singapore's economy, and this is epitomized in 2008 global financial crisis. Stock market fall, loans record. When loans are recorded, people will have less money. When people have less money, they will not want to buy things, and hence your manufacturing industries, all your businesses will fall, and when it fall, it causes unemployment. Okay, so of course started by the Lehman Bros. Another thing is that how do you help these companies to grow in the midst of economic crisis? Okay, so what has the government put in place? Very simple: rebates, training, reduce interest rates, increase subsidies. New and small companies had tax exemptions. So all these things to help relieve the pressure. Okay, relieve the pressure from the SMEs, because they are the ones that are going to suffer if they face economic crisis, if Singapore faces an economic crisis. Okay, so that is a negative impact of globalization. For companies wise, the positive thing is, of course, if you expand overseas, you have access to new markets, you can find cheaper labor costs. Okay, for Singapore, who does this? CapitaLand and Super. For worldwide, we have PepsiCo and Starbucks again. So key examples to show how these companies make use of globalization to expand, to find new markets where you can find cheaper labor costs and so on and so forth. Okay, so again, this is the benefits for companies. Okay, but negative is for local SMEs. How do you need to survive if you are a local SME? Because foreign MNCs will create competition for you. So you have to innovate, you have to reinvent, you have to remain relevant. Okay, and in some cases you can play a complementary role to MNCs. Example is MMI Holdings, which supplies hard disks to US Seagate Technologies, which is the MNC. So that's how you stay relevant. Okay, you have to innovate. The SMEs have to innovate. Not only that, the government has to support these SMEs as well. How? Loans, grants, tax incentives. So it's to help them to earn a healthy profit margin. Okay. Yes. So that is in a nutshell economic impact for companies. And lastly, for individuals, of course, in a global society, you don't have to limit yourself to working in Singapore. You can find higher income overseas, or a negative thing is that you may get lower income because MNCs will employ foreigners, or foreigners may pull down your salary. Okay, if you have an increase in the supply of workers, of course the salary is going to decrease, right? If you have workers who are willing to work for less. So to curb this, you have to retrain, you have to upgrade your skills to make yourself unique. Okay, another thing is that for individuals, if MNCs decide to shift production from one country to another, a lot of jobs will be lost, especially those manufacturing, those low skilled jobs. Example, US shifting production to China, and another example is that Uniqlo, a US company, shifted from China to Vietnam because production there is cheaper. So the poor workers in China will all lose their jobs. Okay, lack of skills again. Globalization has made it such that competition for jobs is real, and in order to be valuable and employable, you have to have the updated skills that the world needs. Okay, such as from agriculture to manufacturing and service. More importantly, you need both technical and cognitive skills. Okay, example of this is SPH recently retrenched a lot of workers in order to stay competitive in the market. So that is one negative thing of globalization. This is a recent example, okay, SPH. So if you write it in the exam, it will be good for you. Okay, what else is the government doing to help the individuals face globalization in terms of economic wise? You have Skills Future, continued training, and you have training support schemes such as workfare. All these will help the workers to stay employable. Okay, the key word is employability. You want your workers to stay employable, to have the skills to be unique and outstanding. Okay, so yes, finally, that's all. On to the next video, cultural impact of globalization.